I lived in New York and grew up in New York, and I didn't know the Lord, and I didn't have a relationship with the Lord. So I moved here in 1999 through a job relocation from the Smithsonian. And I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends here. And my son Matthew had friends because high school, he was in high school. And one of his high school friends started speaking to him about Covenant Life Church. He became a Christian one day, and so he started speaking to my son about God and about the class called Introducing God. And I decided that I was going to go and do the class because he said a lot of nice things about Introducing God, and that they had free dinner. They had dinner on Wednesday nights, and I said, what am I going to lose, dinner? One day I heard one of the people in the class, and he was actually a helper. He was a Christian already, and he was talking about his struggles. And I had struggles. I had a lot of struggles because I had 2 years prior a car accident and surgery. And because of this surgery, I was not very healthy, and it was very difficult for me to sit. It was difficult for me to walk. It was difficult for me to work. And so I told the group, and so they decided they were going to pray for me that night. And they did. They prayed, and I had no faith because I didn't know the Lord, so it was their faith. The next morning after that prayer, it was Thursday, and I heard my alarm clock go off. And I ran downstairs and I made my coffee, and then I went up and I showered and I put on my face, and I didn't think that I was not stopping, I was not resting. It didn't occur to me right away. The day before that prayer, I had gone to the ladies' room at work, and I couldn't leave the ladies' room because the pain was intense. I froze in there and I couldn't move, and someone had to bring me home. So I had a new bottle of pills, and I never opened that pill. That was it. I never opened that bottle of pills. And there's one thing. When the group prayed for me, there was a man in the class, and he asked me to read Ephesians 6:10-18, and he told me that it was the armor of God and that it offered protection, and I didn't even know there was a book named Ephesians. I said, what the heck is Ephesians? I know the normal set that people know. So 2 days later, I went to my grandson's grandparents' day class. He was in second grade, and all of the children had drawn a picture of their grandparents. In my case, grandparent. It was just me. I asked him, it was very strange because he drew me wearing armor. And I said, Gabriel, I'm your grandmother, why am I wearing armor? And there's a little boy just coming out of the side of the picture, and he's giving me something. And I said, but Gabriel, what is that? Who is that? And he said, that's me, and I'm giving you your sword. I said, what am I going to do with a sword? And he took his little yellow crayon and he colored the sword at that moment because he hadn't colored it. It was in black and white. When all of a sudden I remember what the man in the class told me and about the armor of God. And I said, wow, the armor of God. And he drew me wearing armor. I'm going to go home and I'm going to read the armor of God that Frank told me about, because this is just too much of a coincidence. So this is the picture that my grandson drew, and he put me with square glasses, one eye bigger than the other. And this is him coming out of the corner, and he labeled armor, shirt under armor, pants. There's something on my head. I have no idea what's on my head, but it looks like a bird's nest, and it has, you can recognize question marks and exclamation points and periods, and H, but nothing more. So I opened my Bible. I came home and I opened my Bible, and I started reading the armor of God, and I read the armor of God every day after that. But I went back and I told them what happened, and I told them about the armor of God. I told them about the healing. I never, ever since that day have experienced any more pain. I went to work, And it was like I was motor mouth all of a sudden. I couldn't stop telling people what happened. These were people that were not Christian. They were Jews. They were Muslims. They were whatever they were. But people would walk in the gym when I was working out. I said, "Guess what happened to me?" And I would tell everyone. And it wasn't the healing so much. It was the armor of God thing. This was so supernatural that the Lord used a second grader to draw me toward His Word. And I learned that the sword that He was giving me was His Word. And so I continued going to church every Sunday, and I was baptized that year. I think it was November. I was baptized, and I professed my love for the Lord. And I think we went to a retreat in Introducing God. It was a weekend of learning about the Holy Spirit. And I remember the first year I went to Introducing God that I didn't finish, when they mentioned the weekend with the Holy Spirit, I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that. And then the second time I was like dragging people, you're going to come, right? So I was making sure everyone in the group was going to go to that weekend. And that's where I gave myself up to the Lord. And I professed my faith in Him and asked for forgiveness of my sins. And I didn't stop. I kept doing Bible studies here in my home with ladies. I kept luring them in and cooking for them, and just to get them to come here and study the Word. And I've had different groups. I have never stopped. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what my life was like before I knew the Lord. I didn't have any joy, and now it's just an uncontainable. And I'm saying, why am I happy? Why am I so happy? But I'm happy, and no matter what's going on, I just feel full of joy, and I can't explain it except that it's the Lord's joy. It's Him.